Right.
Richard.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the latest instalment of the AHDB World Tours. This evening, we're heading over to Argentina. My name's Harry Henderson, and I'm a Technical Knowledge Exchange Manager for AHDB. And joining me will be Patricio Laura, and we'll talk to him in just a minute. Just a little bit of housekeeping so far. You will be all on mute, and I can't see you. You'll probably be able to see me. But if you have anything to say, we do have a questions box. You'll see it on the probably on the right-hand side of your screen. There's a little drop-down box with questions. We'll aim to be about an hour. Sometimes these overrun, and sometimes we can overrun slightly. We do have basis and Naroto points. I believe type those into the type your basis and Naroto numbers into the questions box, and we can sort it from this end and get those added. I can't see what that one is. And this is recorded. This will be recorded, so you can watch it back on YouTube at your leisure. Okay. So and there's the Twitter handle if you want to use them. So we thought we'd talk about Argentina, and I thought I'd give you some context to begin with. Let's try and get everything there. You can see, just to give everyone an idea of how big Argentina really is. I've picked some images off the CIA World Fact Book, which is freely available, and you can see there Argentina laid across the United States. And it stretches right from Winnipeg, Regina in Canada, right down to nearly Mexico City. So it's quite the size. You can see there as comparison, UK is just spread across several states of the United States. So it's quite the size of country. In terms of GDPR, Argentina's agriculture accounts for 10.8% of GDPR. Industry 28 and services 61, and you can see the United Kingdom as a comparison really is 0.7% for agriculture, 20% for industry, and 79% in services. So what we thought we'll do now is just introduce Patricio. We've got Michelle, I should say, working everything at the background. So hopefully she's keeping me all in check. We've got two handouts, I should say, as well. The arable soil management document you can download, and the field drainage guide you can download as well. And of course, good drainage is nothing is the foundation of good soil management in my view. But we thought we'd just cut now to Patricio and allow Patricio to just introduce himself.
Okay. Well, thank you, Harry, very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Michelle, also for helping with this meeting. Here by my side is my friend Richard. Richard, he doesn't speak English. He is his origin is from, his parents were from Holland, and that's very common in Tres Arroyos, where we live. We have a great community of Holland farmers, and so he speaks Holland but not English, so I will help him with Spanish and the translation. And well, just to introduce ourselves, I'm an agriculture engineer. That's the title we obtained when we finished our university, and after 6 years of studying, and I have been working in the southern part of our most important province, that is the province of Buenos Aires. That's about 500 kilometers south from capital, nearby the sea. Okay, I have been working advising farmers of the cooperative systems, that the cooperative systems here in Argentina and in Tres Arroyos is kind of an important part of the group of the farmers in our country. Well, so Richard is a farmer from here, and he's in the no-till system. ¿Hace cuántos años, Richard, que estás en el sistema de siembra directa? I was asking him for how long has he been in the no-till system in agriculture. He has been already for about 20 years. And I would say that in our area, the system has been installed, like I would say 25 years ago, and has been growing sustainably or increasingly from then to these years, no? Well, I will.
And how much percentage of your crops are established no-till in Argentina?
Okay, in Argentina, I understand that maybe it is the country that has the biggest percentage of no-till system in agriculture, and actually it's about 75 to 80% of our crops. I will ask Richard in his case, probably he's near 100% in a no-till system, ¿no? ¿Tu agricultura la hace 100% en no-till? ¿En qué porcentaje? Okay, he's about 70 to 80% of his farming procedure in no-till system, no?
Okay.
Just to explain to you, this is an Argentine mate. It's a very popular beverage that we drink. It's kind of a tea, and usually we share this mate with our friends.
And is it alcoholic?
No, no, at all. It's just like tea. It's stronger than tea. Yerba mate, yes.
I'll believe you. I'll believe you.
Me preguntaba si eso era alcohólico.
Okay. We had some. I got some facts and figures on your crops that we found from our market intelligence department, and we've got some Agribenchmark figures, and we looked at 3 typical Argentinian farms. You can see the farms here. There's 2 in southwest, or I should say the Zona Nucoa region is the top with 330 hectares. The second one down the farm with 700 hectares is in South Buenos Aires region, and the 900 hectares is in the West Buenos Aires region. And these farms have entered their data into Agribenchmark. And for average wheat yield results that we'll see in a minute, but they've gone from 2015 to 2019. So let's see if I can. There we go. So are these yields pretty typical? 4.8 tons, 4.6 tons per hectare, Patricio?
Okay. Yes, usually I would say that we can have in our area in Tres Arroyos between 4.4 and 4.8 would be a kind of good yield, sometimes 5. But well, as I was telling you before starting the meeting, now we are in a very dry season, so our yield will be way below. ¿Cuánto consideras que va a ser el rinde de trigo este año? Promedio de esto, tuyo, suponete. Okay, for example, Richard is in a good area and he's a very good farmer, and he will have this year 1.5 tons per hectare, way below this. And we are starting with our harvesting. We have already started with barley, and our barley is usually higher than wheat. Usually our barley is about 6.0 tons per hectare, and we are in these moments maybe 2.2, 2.5. It's really a disaster, a very bad year. Estoy diciendo que es un muy mal año, que la cebada está también por debajo.
And I've got some notes here that would say that Argentina receives between 900 and 1,000 millimeters of rain per year on average. And what sort of rainfall have you had this year?
Okay, that is very different depending on the different areas. As you showed us, Argentina is it's a big country and very long and kind of wide also. In our area, usually our average of millimeters is about 850. 850 milímetros será promedio nuestro de lluvias. Yes, 850 millimeters per year. And this year, ¿y este año cuánto tenemos? No, this year we are in about 450 millimeters. But the problem is that from April to the end of October, we plant our wheat and our barley in May, June, and July, no? And so from April to the end of October, we only had about 200 millimeters.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
I don't know if my English is okay. Can you understand my English? Sometimes
for sure.
I start.
Yeah. Spot on.
Okay.
Yep. No, it's
Okay.
it's very good. Very good. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to. I just thought I'd talk about also in the Agribenchmark system, we've got seeds and fertilizer and spray costs, and this is converted into pounds per hectare for our viewers in the UK. So you can see there. Let's just load this all up fully. These three farms are seeing the seed in the blue at about £40 per hectare, and then you have nitrogen. We're looking at about £80 per hectare. Next, phosphorus, fertilizer, potash, herbicides, very low on herbicides. But you can see we would be seeing seed, fertilizer, and spray costs are much higher than this. Are you also seeing a huge increase in fertilizer cost and spray cost at the moment?
Yes, we are seeing that. Of course, this year has been very expensive for farmers because fertilizers have increased a lot their prices. So that's another big problem. We have wasted a lot of money in our hectares, and now we don't have a good yield. But yes, we have increased our uses of our fertilizer use, and also I would say that what mostly we have increased is our herbicide use per hectare. Le estoy diciendo que en el pasado me preguntaba si hemos ido aumentando el uso de fertilizantes, insumos, y le dije que sí, y que sobre todo el uso de herbicidas se ha incrementado. Yes, specialized herbicides because of the no-till system. No?
Okay, we'll get onto that. Okay, that's good. The other thing I'm going to get onto is if I can get onto the right screen at my end. Okay, so Richard, this is your tractor and seed drill?
Te pregunta si tu tractor.
Yes.
He's smiling. So his tractor's world famous now. That's good. Just talk us through, because I wanted to know what model this tractor was. It's a 30 series John Deere, I know. Is it over 10 years old?
No, it's only, he said, only 1 year old. Just a moment. 1 year old. I don't know what happened. I can't see you. Wait. Let's see. I touched something. I minimized something. Wait. No, here I am. Okay, that's it. Now I'm okay. That tractor has 1 year of use.
Okay. Yep. And it's South American built?
¿Está hecho en Estados Unidos?
No.
No.
Brasil.
That is made in Brazil and brought to Argentina from Brazil. John Deere is a very popular brand here in Argentina. It was made in the past. Se hizo en el pasado John Deere en la Argentina, ¿no? En la fábrica. Actually, what they bring the parts from Brazil and they build it up in Argentina.
Okay. Yeah. The thing that struck me about it was there's no front suspension.
Sorry, Harry, and he was just telling me that he has a real American one that has 22,000 hours of work.
Really? And how many hours would this tractor do in a year?
¿Cuántas horas trabajará ese tractor por año?
1,000 a 1,200.
Between 1,000 and 1,200 hours per year.
Okay. And all no-till drilling, or does it pull the sprayer and do fertilization as well?
¿Solamente siembra o hace de todo un poco? No, yes, it will spray fertilizers, it will plant wheat, plant sunflower or corn, herbicides, herbicidas? No. He has, for herbicides, he has an, you say, auto-propelled system, mosquito we call them here.
Yeah, self-propelled sprayer.
Self-propelled, that's it.
Okay. And how wide is the seed drill? What working width does a seed drill have?
Okay. Pregunta, ¿qué ancho tiene tu sembradora de trabajo?
9 metros y 7 metros.
Oh, he has two. One has 9 meters and the other has 7 meters.
Okay. Yeah. And how many
and
hectares?
Another one of 5. 5. He has
another
3.
One of 5.
Yes.
3 drills.
3 drills.
And all no-till. There's not a tine drill.
Dice, todo es no siembra directa, esas sembradoras.
Sí.
Yes, they are no-till systems, but he can use them also sometimes in a just a not a no-till field. He can also use them in other kind of soils, no?
Okay.
Actually, what Richard is saying, and I agree with that, we are actually kind of going back to move our soils to it's kind of not, we are not leaving away the no-till systems, but we are mixing them a little bit, just maybe moving them with our discs just a little bit. What we are starting to do that, and let's say about 3 or 4 years ago, we started with that again. Because of especially because of our weeds.
Okay. And for compaction reasons or for seed establishment reasons?
I would say the main reason actually is that some of our weeds have become tolerant to herbicides. So sometimes it's so expensive and we don't have good effects on our spraying systems or with our herbicides that we decide just to move a little bit of the soil with a disc and not to waste so much money. Compaction also is a problem, especially when we work with cattle. That is very common in our area, and Richard has cattle, so sometimes compaction also is a fact. También me pregunta si no solo por herbicida, sino por compactación, y le dije que sí, que a veces por compactación también.
Okay. Okay. And how many hectares does Richard drill every year?
¿Cuántas hectáreas sembrás por año? Quizás habría que diferenciar tu empresa de los trabajos afuera.
Yo estoy trabajando a 1,700.
Yes.
Sí.
He's drilling from himself. I mean, he has a little bit of land that he owns, and the rest he rents. But his enterprise is about 1,700 hectares. But he also gives services outside. Yeah. So adding what he gives as a service to other farmers, he is drilling about 4,000 hectares.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With those 3 drills.
Con las 3 sembradoras.
4 tengo. Tengo 2 de fina y 2 de diversa, pero se hace el segundo.
Okay. Yes. He has actually 4 drills, no? And he's also he's taking in matter the wheat, barley, no, hectares, and also the sunflower, soybean, and corn hectares, no?
I see. Yep. Okay.
He has 2 different drills. I'll say 2 drills are for the winter crops and 2 drills are for the summer crops.
And for, say, the cereal crops, the wheat crops, what would be the row spacing between each cereal row?
Okay. Pregunta cuál es la distancia que tenés entre hileras en lo que es fina, en la sembradora.
21 centímetros.
21 centimeters.
Okay. It's a big conversation we have in the UK that very traditionally an old seed drill would be 12.5 centimeters between the rows, and now they're getting slightly wider because if you go for the very wide drill and you have close rows, then you might have quite a lot of difficulties with the superstructure of the drill. And also, if you go for wider rows, you may have the opportunity to inter-row hoe for weed control instead of herbicide. And so there's quite a debate. We have no-till drills that are maybe 16.7 centimeters row width, and then it gets wider. Some of the horse drills in Germany, the wide working width, 9 meters and 12 meters, will be 25 centimeters as a row width.
The same happened here in the past. The distance was very, very near, but when we went to the no-till systems, we had to increase the distance. But the normal distance is 19.5. No, or 20, no, okay. Between 19.5 to 21. Esa es la distancia normal, entre 19 y 21. Sí. 25.
Acá hay algunas sembradoras de 26.
Actually, there are some drills here that are planting wheat at 26 centimeters also, but it's not very common. And the problem is that the distance is so big, we have problems with weeds.
But it doesn't impact yield, so you don't get just not enough interception of sunlight, as we call it, where your rows are so wide that the sunlight is hitting the ground rather than the growing plant.
Yes, I think that something like that also occurs. Yes, when the distance is too big. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Well, this is Richard's field. I've just shown it's moved on the slide. So this is after the drill has passed through.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Sí, no, perdón, arrendado.
It's not his own land, but he rents that land.
Okay, yeah. And just describe the soil type. Is it alluvial? What kind of, is it easy working, easy draining soil?
Very easy working. It's we would call it franco arcilloso. It has a little bit of clay. It's not like what we saw in Great Britain of your soils that are very heavy. Now here they are not sandy, but more sandy than yours for sure, no? And very easy to drill. Me preguntaba el tipo de suelo y le decía que por lo que vimos en Gran Bretaña nada que ver, que allá veíamos suelos muy arcillosos en Gran Bretaña. Que allá son más livianos, suelos mucho más arenosos.
Sí, aunque dentro de desarrollo hay mucha disparidad.
Yes, what Richard is also telling me that in Tres Arroyos, we have different kinds of soils. If we go from nearby the sea, it will be more sandy. And if we go far away from the sea, it will have a little bit more of clay, but never like in Great Britain.
No. Okay, very good. And no use of cover crops. That's just into stubble in that photograph. You don't have a cover crop to protect the soil.
Well, yes, that's actually very, very common, and it is increasing. The cover crops are very important actually in our area. Me preguntaba si se hace cultivo de cobertura en la zona, y le dije que sí, que se está haciendo, ahora se está aumentando más. Yes, we are, our most used cover crop when we finish wheat or barley is oat with vicia. I don't know how you say vicia. It's a legume. Let's see if I can find the translation. Let me see.
Okay.
That's very common. It's very good for our soil because it gives nitrogen, no? Vicia, vicia.
Whilst you're doing that, I was just going to go back a slide, and we've got this question coming in, and you know, if you're on this webinar, keep the questions coming in and type them into the box. But in terms of reliability for the tractors, you're happy with the reliability and the service that the tractors give? They're reliable?
I didn't understand your question, Harry.
The John Deere tractors, they have a good reputation for reliability.
Si tienen los tractores una buena reputación de uso y de control por parte de las empresas que los venden.
No, te lo venden y hacen el primer servicio a las 100 horas y después te arreglas.
What happens in Argentina is that sometimes you buy your tractor and they give you the tractor and then you have to manage by yourself. It's not easy to find the people to follow when you have problems. But, well, that's a very good brand, and usually he's happy with that kind of tractor. No?
And interestingly, we have a little bit of I think also in the USA, there's a lot of conversation about whether you can repair the tractor yourself, or as soon as it has an issue, it has to go back to the dealer and you have to pay the dealer to repair the tractor. But it's already sounding like that you would, if you have an issue with the tractor, you get the spanners and get the tools and you fix the tractor yourself.
Yes. Si pregunta si se usan mucho los talleres y si te condiciona mucho a tener que usar el taller de la concesionaria cuando tenés el tractor.
No, yo la verdad que en el tractor que tiene 22.000 horas, una vez le arreglé el motor, pero después no viene nunca prácticamente. Es que en el caso de John Deere, que solo cambiar filtros y eso no se hace. Okay. Sí, lo traje para las 10.000 horas para hacer.
Well, Richard is a fan of John Deere. He's telling me that luckily he doesn't have problems with his tractor, but he has a good dealer here in Tres Arroyos, so if he had a problem, he would bring it here. But usually he by himself just does the service of the tractor on his farm.
Okay. Yep. Good. Right. Okay. And if you listen to this webinar, just keep the questions. Type them into the questions box, and Michelle will send them to me. Right. Just a quick one here. Harvest-wise, then you're into harvest right now. This is a good photograph because there's a very dark sky behind the combine, Patricio. So you were going to get rain just at the harvest?
Well, dice que hay una muy buena foto de una cosecha ahí, qué suerte que parece una buena tormenta, pero le digo que no es de ahora esa foto, ¿no?
No, tiene un año.
No, that was last year. We don't have rain this year. That was last year, and he had very good yields last year.
Yep, good. And all of the straw is spread back onto the ground. You don't bale or remove the straw.
Okay, dice, ¿qué haces con toda la paja esa? ¿Haces rollo, la removes o la dejas?
En ese campo de maíz de segunda, que me dio, me parece que 1000 kilos, fue un fracaso porque se heló, pero sembré maíz de segunda y arriba, con eso no hice nada, pero en otros campos sí hago rollos de cola de cebada.
Okay, usually what Richard is telling me, and it's very common in this part of the country, they make bales out of, especially when they have barley, they can use it for cattle. And if they are going to plant another crop, because it's very common here actually that after harvesting wheat or barley, we sometimes go into another crop. He planted their corn last year after that and didn't make bales out of the straw. Okay, that barley last year yields 5.5 tons per hectare. And
Really?
now he is harvesting about 2.0 tons per hectare.
Really? Okay, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on then. What we're going to do, and with the help of Michelle and a lot of hope, we're going to. You sent a video of the drill working.
Va a poner tu filmación de la sembradora. Great.
What we're going to do is hopefully run it and just stop it midway through, and then just try and describe what's going on. Also, there's you can just see before we run it. There's a few. There we go. It's going on. Okay. I hope everyone can see that. Okay, we're going to run this and hopefully stop it for a minute. That's it. Fantastic. So there's a few things going on. We've got an opening disc here, and then the drill units behind it will see it. But what intrigued me, Patricio, is this green spiky weed, which is coming up towards the drill. And I wondered, is that a problem for you? Is it what weed is that?
Oh, that is a problem for us. Yes, rama negra es esa, ¿no?
No, esto es un cardo.
No, I thought it was another weed, and Richard is telling me it's a cardo. You call it in English whistle.
Oh, thistle.
It's thistle, that's it. And sometimes we have it in Argentina, but it's not a big problem. I thought it was rama negra that is a big problem, that is similar, but it's not so big. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can see that it's like not very green because we have already applied an herbicide and it's dying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And just getting onto the herbicide thing, we are in Europe really we're quite dependent on the use of glyphosate. What's the situation with glyphosate in Argentina?
Well, me está preguntando de glifosato, ¿cuál es la situación? Well, it's spread. It's really used a lot in our country, and it's very expensive this year. Prices have increased, I think, all over the world, no? But from usually we paid about $2.5 per liter, and now we're paying about $11 or $12 per liter. So it's really very, very expensive. And of course, we have had some resistance among some of the weeds we have with glyphosate, no? Because it has been used so much and so often that we have problems actually. So that's why we are trying to rotate our herbicides.
Okay. So you have do you have access to another total herbicide such as glyphosate to rotate it with?
Well, yes, I think that like glyphosate, it's not easy to find anything, no? But we're using more that it's not really we don't know how long they will let us use it, but we are using paraquat. I don't know if you have heard of that.
We know paraquat, yeah.
Yes, but now actually it's kind of difficult to buy it because they say it's not so good for the human, especially for humans. So now we are not using it so much, and we are in other kind of herbicides, using other kind of herbicides that are specific for sunflower or for corn or for wheat or barley, no? But we have different options, but really it's very difficult to not to use glyphosate anymore. It's kind of the most important herbicide yet. I don't know if it's the same in England, in Great Britain.
We aren't seeing any resistance at the moment. We are perhaps probably facing a restriction on its use. In Europe, there's 3 countries that are looking to run a public vote on whether it should be used in agriculture, and that's next year. But I did hear, I think, from the NFU that the National Farmers Union in the UK that they deferred that. And then again, it might happen in 2025 when in the UK it comes up to vote whether we should be using glyphosate. But it's an important product for us, and if we want to go to a no-till situation, and everyone is very keen on no-till where it saves the soil, it sequesters carbon capture is becoming very popular in the UK to try and combat climate change and reducing soil movement and increasing soil organic matter in the soil is seen as one way of capturing carbon. But of course, at the moment, we are pretty dependent on glyphosate to deal with the weeds just before we drill or just after we drill in a no-till or reduced till situation.
Yes, I would tell you that for sure when you get into the no-till system, you will depend more on glyphosate. No, that's a reality. And it is a problem here in Argentina now with some weeds that are resistant or tolerant. So we are kind of mixing glyphosate with other products or also using other herbicides. But yes, when you get into the no-till systems, you depend more on herbicides. That's true. Estoy diciendo que
yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, Michelle, can you run the video for its full course again? Let's see. So the leading disc, Patricio, had a pipe going down. Does the fertilizer and seed go into the slot?
I will answer. Yes. ¿Quieres saber si la semilla de fertilizante va en el mismo tubo o va separado? Ahí.
Van separados.
Okay. The fertilizer is going in the front and on the side, y al costado. And on the side, the fertilizer. And the seed comes afterwards, a little bit separated from the fertilizer. So we can use high quantities of fertilizers near the seed. It's about the distance between the fertilizer and the seeds, about 1.5 to 2 centimeters.
Okay.
Maybe if you run the video a little bit again, we will see where the fertilizer is coming from.
Okay. This might be stressing Michelle out. We could try and run it again. Could we do that, Michelle? Yeah. You'll need to unmute yourself, Patricio.
The fertilizer comes here. Ahí, no? Ahí. There goes the fertilizer, you see?
Yep.
And he, acá. And
Sí,
here,
esa es la tapadora, pero
yes, just there goes the seed.
Okay. And how fast do you normally run with that drill? 10
Aquí
kilometers per hour?
7,5.
7 to 7.5 kilometers per hour.
7.
7, ideal is 7, not faster. In no-till systems, you have to go slower, because of the crop, of the straw, and of the difference of the leveling of the soil. That's something important in the no-till systems.
Yeah,
You cannot
sure.
go fast.
No. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's go on to the next. This is the next video.
Okay. Acá está por pasar la otra.
De la vaca, estaba el eléctrico por ahí.
Oops. Were you able to see that, Patricio?
Okay, I wanted to tell you that here you can see how our cattle grazes over here, and you can see the little paves or the little roads that the cattle make. No, that's what we were showing you, to understand that we have really had good combination of no-till systems with cattle grazing our crops, also our fields, because here it's common for farmers to have cattle and also to have crops. In the northern part of our province, in Buenos Aires, maybe the yields are higher. It's about 300 or 400 kilometers north from our place, and you will not find cattle in those areas, and so you will only have wheat and soybeans. But here it is very common to have wheat, barley. After that, sometimes we have a cover crop where the cattle can graze our oats, and then we will have corn afterwards, or soybeans. So we try our farmers to have a little bit of everything on their farms. So for there, it's better economically when we have different prices or different weathers, climates. For example, this year, it's a very bad year for our crops, and farmers will lose a lot of money per hectare. But well, our cows and our calves are okay, and luckily we will be able to sell meat at just as normally, no, we do. Instead of the difference with our yield is that we will have half or less of our crop with wheat and barley.
No? Okay.
Está muy apretado por la ganadería desde hace años y ahora el maíz está hermoso. Le voy a ir mostrando fotos con la evolución de.
Richard is telling me that this field has been overgrazed by the cattle, and it has been compacted by them. It has had a big quantity of cattle grazing, and now he planted corn there, and he will send us later, and I will send you, Harry, some photographs as the corn grows in the following month, and you will see how this changes. No?
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Okay. Let's just run the video in its entirety. Let's just run the whole thing.
Okay. Va a hacer pasar el video. ¿Cómo que pasa tipo foto?
Sí, acá no, sí.
Eso que era rastrojos de
grasa.
natural. Eso lo voy a hacer.
Natural. En esta época medio es casi un problema. La idea es trabajarlo después de la lluvia. Justo habíamos tenido lluvia.
Por eso se ve con barro todavía.
Claro, pero excelentes condiciones. De no en seca no entras ahí, no tenés la oportunidad de sembrarlo.
Richard is telling me that you can see the soil there. It was in very good conditions because it rained, and that's why they decided to plant in that moment corn there. No?
Okay.
So that's why you see that the drill is making a very nice job.
Yeah, just the right amount of moisture.
Exactly.
A veces no se da la lluvia y capaz que no lo puedes sembrar.
Sometimes if you don't have rain, you cannot drill this, and you have to wait until it rains.
Sure.
You can see where the cattle used to come and go over there.
Mm-hmm. And this vegetation on the soil surface was for cattle. It was sown for cattle feeding.
Yes, it was
grazing.
a natural ryegrass. Ryegrass, you say in English?
Ryegrass,
Okay.
yeah.
Ryegrass, okay. ¿Cuántos años tenía ese ryegrass?
Es de estación, digamos, ¿no? Arranca en marzo, exacto, porque ese lote no lo trabajo hace como 15 años.
Oh, he didn't plant this field for about 15 years. It was just left natural ryegrass. It was once planted. It's very common here sometimes to plant ryegrass for 1 year, and after we graze our ryegrass, we can plant corn or sunflower or soybeans. But he left this ryegrass for his cows, and for about 15 years he left it, and now he decided to plant corn over there.
Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting if you send some photographs of how that's come along. And the corn is for grain maize for cattle food, or what will be the destination for the corn?
¿Cuál fue el destino de ese maíz? He will harvest it. And usually we have good yields with corn in these situations. Yes. Of course, depending on what happens in this summer, if it rains, no? I hope the La Nina disappears at once. They say we will have more rain towards the end of January and March, on February.
Yeah, okay. And just explain El Nino. What is that phenomenon? I know we discussed it before we went online, but just tell us what that weather phenomenon is.
Okay, we are always looking for the weather people to tell us if we will have El Nino or we will have La Nina. When we have La Nina, it will usually be a very dry season for us. And that means they follow especially the temperatures of the Pacific Ocean. And when the temperatures of the Pacific Ocean low down and they don't warm up, I can't remember which time of the year, but they follow it every day and every hour inclusive, no? And they see how the temperature is if it's raining or decreasing, and they predict with the temperature of the Pacific Ocean if we will have La Nina or El Nino. And the problem is that it's our third La Nina and the worst one. So it will be really a very, very low yield for us this year. No? And that's why they say the prices are increasing, especially soybeans. Argentina is a very big soybean contributor to the world. So, and also Brazil. So they think that we will not have a good yield this year, and that's why prices are increasing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. So we've got some questions coming in. The first one is, I've had 180 millimeters of rain from July, or from March to July, the main growing season in the UK, and had good yields. What is holding production back, do you think, apart from I suppose it's going to be rainfall for you guys, but what are the things would hold production and yield back for you in Argentina?
Well, the great difference from Great Britain, from what we know and we saw when we traveled to your country and to your beautiful farms, that was 4 años atrás fuimos a Gran Bretaña, 5 years. 19. And we went in 2019 and we visited beautiful farms over there, and we saw how you have an ideal temperature when your wheat or your barley is reaching harvesting time. You never have high temperatures. I think that the highest temperature you have maybe is 21 Celsius or 23 Celsius, no?
No, we'd get maybe, we had a really hot summer and we were getting temperatures of 30 degrees plus this summer. And we probably got up to nearly 40 degrees, but that was very particular to this year. If we got in the height of our harvest season in July, if we got to 28, 30 degrees Celsius in the middle of the day, that would be pretty hot, pretty normal. We can have cooler summers. This summer has been very hot, but in general, it's about 30 degrees maybe for a couple of days.
Okay, but that's a big difference. Here, we are sometimes in October or November, 2 months before our harvest time, we can have 34, 35 degrees with wind and high evaporation. So that probably is what gives us less yield per hectare. I mean, it's the most important factor. If we have a very good beginning of the summer or end of our spring with low temperatures, or sometimes it happens 6 or 7 years, we will have bigger crops yields.
Yeah, sure. Another question coming in. Genetically modified crops, Roundup Ready crops, do you use any of those in Argentina?
Well, we are using them for soybeans, and we are using sunflower, the clear, well, but it's different. It's the Clearfield sunflowers, but the only Roundup Ready crops by the moment are soybeans and, corn also, yes.
Yes.
Corn and soybeans.
And the only genetically modified part is it's Roundup Ready. There's no corn borer resistance or anything like that built in.
No, yes, they are building. Yes, we have different things that are built up in soybeans and corn also. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what else? What's your biggest loss of soil moisture? Is it winds with transpiration and temperature? Is that do you need to really protect the moisture when you have it?
Yes, we have to protect it. That's why we went into the no-till systems and also to the cover crops. No, it's very important. For example, this year you can see big difference between a field that is in a no-till system that had a cover crop or had good quantity of straw, how it kept the moisture, and how the other field that didn't have the cover crop or was disked or whatever lost a lot of humidity. No?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. I leave my glasses. Let's put my glasses on. is there research-wise in Argentina? Is there research that that you can, government research, or where does the Argentinian farmer get their research from?
Pregunta de dónde obtiene el productor argentino la información de investigación. ¿Me puedo contar un poco del INTA, de los agricultores? Yes. Well, we have an important organization that is called INTA, I-N-T-A, that has research in different aspects of our farm production, of our agriculture production. We have here in Tres Arroyos a station, research station, and actually I am the president of the research, the board of directors. It has a board of directors, and I am actually the president of that board of directors, and I participate with the other research centers of the southern part of Buenos Aires. INTA is the most important organization. It is a government organization, similar to your organizations in Great Britain, I would say, because we visited your organizations in Great Britain when we went. And also, well, agriculture engineers are helping farmers or advising farmers in their farms. Some of them work for cooperatives, some others for different companies, and they give advices to farmers. We also have labs that help with the soil tests and with the leaf measurements or tests to see what kind of fertilizer we have to use. But that's how farmers get advices for their farms, actually. And it's very popular here in Argentina. It was not like that in the past. When I started 35 years ago, I was kind of new in the business, but actually it's very common and it's working okay.
And is that government funded?
No, when we agriculture engineers usually work for a cooperative privately and give advices privately. But yes, the INTA research centers, they are government provided, and supported. Yes, INTA is a government institute.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Another question coming in: does Richard practice mob grazing with the cattle? So, and for example, you would put them in electric fenced part of the field, and then they would eat a third and trample a third, and then you would move them on quickly to a next part of the field in a kind of regenerative system. How do you graze your cattle?
Bueno, lo que te quieren preguntar a vos, un productor, es si usás un sistema con la hacienda de pastoreo con eléctricos y con parcelas.
Sí, intensivo y todo con eléctrico.
Yes, he actually works with that system, electric fences and small, how do you call them, plots or fields, and he keeps paddocks, that's it, and he moves them every day or 2 days, and so he can go back better when he goes around all the way. He comes back and has more production. Yes. Yes. Sometimes cuando es ryegrass, por ejemplo, for example, oats or ryegrass, they can use them 5 to 6 times, graze them 5 to 6 times each paddock in maybe just 5 months, no?
Okay. And companion crops. I don't know if you know companion crops, or we have two things: a living mulch, where we would direct drill into a leguminous crop like clover, and we would you would plant the wheat or the corn straight in, and the clover or the leguminous living mulch would have a weed suppression capacity to it, and it would have a leguminous nitrogen fixing capacity to it. Do you do any of that in Argentina?
Yes, we plant sometimes our wheat with alfalfa, and also with red clover. And when we harvest our wheat or our barley, then after that we have a very nice field with red clover or white clover or alfalfa. Yes, it's very common here, very popular.
Okay.
But actually very popular is to harvest our barley or our wheat and to plant oat with vice, I think you say, vicia, vice. Have you heard of vice?
Vetch, I think you would call it.
Vetch,
Oh,
okay, yes.
That's it, yes, thank you, Michelle. That's very popular, and we have some nice research studies from INTA, from our government organization, that shows that maybe if you have that for 6 or 7 months and you leave nitrogen accumulate, you can have about 200 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. That is a lot of money for a farmer. And just given by this system, this natural biological system, no?
Yeah, okay. And just leading on to that, would you feed your plants through the soil or through the leaf by applying liquid? Do you do any liquid fertilizer?
Me pregunta si utilizamos fertilizantes líquidos o la mayoría granulados.
La mayoría.
Yes. Most of them are just solid and spread on the soil when our barley or our wheat or our corn is small. It's a small plant, and usually we use just solid fertilizers. But there are some companies that are trying to sell and to see if farmers will use liquid fertilizers. I think that the problem is that usually the solid fertilizers, where farmers are very used to it, it's very practical. And when you get into the liquid fertilizers, when you analyze how much is the cost per unit of fertilizer, they are more expensive. So that's why farmers don't get into that business. If they would be cheaper, maybe they would think of it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. I think really that's about it for questions, and we're about at the time. It's 3 minutes past 8 in the evening here, Patricio. What time is it with you?
Well, it's 3 minutes past 5. We have very warm weather. It's about 34, 35 degrees outside. You told me it was below 0 over there.
For sure. Yeah, it is.
Está bajo cero. Oh.
No, that's
so
good.
it's quite different, and it was very nice to have this meeting with you, and we want both to say that thank you very much, and it's very nice to share different opinions, and you are all invited to visit our country if you want to come to visit Argentina, and we hope we can visit Great Britain again. It was a beautiful trip we made to your place.
Well, thank you. You've been more than welcome to come over here. We'll have to see how the football pans out. Are you into the football?
Yes. Tomorrow we have a very important match: Argentina versus Netherlands, and his parents were from Netherlands. I don't know. He will go with 2 flags. He said he will have 2 flags.
Fair enough. Okay, that's great. Well, look, we'll draw it to a close. That's been absolutely fascinating, Patricio, and I'm sure we'll touch base again in a year. Maybe if you send me those photographs of how that corn comes on, that would be really good, and we'll keep a close eye on how El Nino pan out for you.
Great, Carrie. Yes, I will ask Richard to keep on sending me photographs. He's a very good photographer, and he will probably do that. Le voy a decir que te dije que me vas a mandar fotografías, así te vamos a mandar. Yes, and we will keep you with our situation and tell you how our climate goes and how how our country goes on.
Great stuff, super. Okay, well, just in closing, it all ends a lot, rather abruptly, but for those of you tuned in, there is a survey at the end of it. We have recorded the webinar as well, so you can check back onto our YouTube channel to see if you want to catch up anything again. I'll say again, the basis and the roto points are available. And if you want to contact me with any questions, if you have any further questions, do contact me through Twitter, or just Google my name and AHDB, and I'll pop up. And but for all of you that have tuned in, thank you very much for tuning in, and to appreciate to Patricio and Richard, thank you also for your contributions. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Harry. Thank you, Michelle, and all the people who were there. Nice to meet you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.